We're going to call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you and those who are watching via live stream. Welcome to our last meeting for 2022. And we look forward to a productive 2023. And we have had productive years up to this point, and I don't see any reason why that can't continue. So, welcome. And before we get into the meeting, are we in the third or fourth day of Hanukkah?
It's fourth.
Fourth. Happy fourth day of Hanukkah.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope that you've been, as they say, have you been good or bad? What if you've been a little of both? Do you still get anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do?
You go to mediation.
You get more.
Merry Christmas, and I wish everyone, regardless of what holiday you're celebrating, peace. And we just don't have enough peace and love in this world. And it takes each and every one of us individually to work toward that. And it's really very simple. All any of us are trying to do is survive. And we have to make it easier for one another to survive, not harder. So, peace to all of you. Would you stand for the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public notice, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, Commissioners. Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice having been posted at the board's office and website, and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Solomon?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Commissioner Krista DeLu?
Here.
President Furlisa?
Here. Our next regularly scheduled meeting?
The next regular board meeting will be held Wednesday, January 11, 2023, at 10 a.m. It will be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton, and live stream via YouTube.
Thank you. 2023. Some of us remember when we were going into the year 2000 and they thought the world would come to an end.
Yeah, watch again.
And
Watch again.
It did, that's when Patrick was born.
very good. You're sharp for the morning.
I know. Look at his job.
We do have an executive session today, and we'll be dealing with an item from reliability and security, and that's item number what?
6A.
6A, okay. And the board will be taking action on this item during regular session. Executive session, I don't anticipate lasting more than 15 minutes. Will the Attorney General's office please read the justification for going into executive session?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Agenda item 6A falls within the contract negotiation exception to the Open Public Meetings Act. This exception is found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12E7. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will be retiring to another room, so all of you can stay put. And we found that it worked a lot better than having you all evacuate. We'll evacuate. So, Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Okay. We are back in regular session. Thank you for your patience. Before we get to the agenda, I'd just like to make a few comments. I just want to let you know that I am recused from item 8A on today's agenda. I have a relative who works for a firm that represents the petitioner. So I'm going to ask Commissioner Gordon, when we get to 8A, to preside over that item.
Okay, I'll try not to let the power go to my head.
Well, just make sure we're able to get you out the door. So- As I said in the beginning, this is our last meeting of the year. Again, I want to wish everyone who has joined us here and via live stream peace during this holiday season and all through 2023. I always say here at the board, we work toward and try to be a family. We try to help one another. If somebody's having a problem, we try to help one another professionally or sometimes personally. And that's why it's bittersweet whenever I have to make these announcements. The fact that the following members of the BPU are moving on at the end of this year to enjoy many happy years of retirement. And many happy, healthy years in retirement. Richard Wagenblast, Cable Telco. Richard, are you here? There you are. Good luck. Anything you want to say? That's printable.
No, I've had a very good 30 years here. It's been a long time. 13 years in the industry beforehand. And so
Time for
I
rest.
started in cable in 1979, and I think I've
Wow.
had enough.
Well, Richard, we're going to miss you and want to thank you for your service. The state of New Jersey has been a better place because of your service.
Thank you.
So thank you. We're not done yet.
Wait, there's more.
Sheila Mack. Sheila, are you here? From the Economist's office. We don't have Sheila.
Well, I don't know how many years Sheila has been here. Does anybody know? It's been a long time.
Well over 30. I think she's like 35 or 30.
Yeah, a short timer. Well, for the record, thank you, Sheila. Thank you for your service to the state of New Jersey and the 9.3 million people who live here. Harold Bond. Harold, you were here when I got here. How many years have you been here?
Almost 30. Rich and I started around the same time, in 1993.
Well, you have done a phenomenal job as you've worked in telco, and it, as with Richard and Sheila, it's a bittersweet thing to say, we'll see you. Not goodbye, we'll see you. And I wish you all a long, happy, healthy retirement that you well deserve. And I know the people of New Jersey, and on behalf of the governor, I thank you for your service to us. And I understand there was a little gathering for you. I was not aware of it, otherwise I would have been there.
Well, we could reprise it. I've been going, honestly, within the last several months, when I first started, I would always, it was rather healthy, running marathons, training for different things. I would always bring my lunch because I really wanted to watch when I would eat, so I'd bring a salad. The last couple months, I have gone out to lunch almost every day. Someone someone new. And now I gotta take off the COVID 20 or 25 pounds.
Got you.
That's gonna be my first priority.
Good. Well, I'm sure you'll do a phenomenal job in doing that too. Just don't give the 20 or 25 pounds to me.
I'll make sure they go to somebody else.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any of my colleagues want to say anything?
I just, I'm particularly going to miss Harold because he's my go-to guy. I don't want to bother Lawanda with everything. I go bother Harold. And,
Never bother.
I know that you've been very helpful to the different police departments as they try to put some of the things that the Attorney General has put in place, try to work through those. And I know you did a lot of work on the broadband, trying to get a plan, a capital plan together for that. And that's so helpful to the state. And your work on the merger also, too. It just really leads the way. So many things, and also my fire chief is crying because he's so enjoyed working.
I still owe him
with
a visit. I told him when the last time I spoke, when I go out for a bike ride, I would stop by, because I live over in New Madison. I'm sorry, I live in New Providence, not too far from Madison, with Fisher and Luke. One of these days, I still have his number. I will call him and stop in to say hello.
Good.
Again, thank you guys and gals. Yesterday, the board held a press conference to announce the Digital Equity and Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Planning Grants. It's about as long as waiting for the grants to come through. The grants will be used to help ensure all New Jersey residents have access to high-speed internet in order to compile information about the regions most in need of broadband investments. We are seeking the public's help. Please visit broadbandnj.com to complete a short survey regarding your internet access and reliability. Again, that's broadbandnj.com. Please do the survey. It will be immensely helpful to the commission that we have set up here, and which will issue a report in a year. Our goal, of course, is to ensure the fact that every New Jerseyan has access to the internet. Many times out of disaster comes positive things. I mean, how many things, as an example, and I'm not saying it was worth a war, believe me, but how many inventions were made during the Second World War? Out of disaster, there were positive things that were developed that made our lives easier today. Out of the pandemic, we found out that there were too many New Jersey kids who didn't have access to broadband and fell further and further behind because they weren't in school for almost 2 years. We cannot allow that to happen. Those youngsters, regardless of their zip code, are our future. They are going to carry on what we're trying to do today. And we have to ensure the fact that they have the same availability that other children have. So we are determined, and I'm honored that the Board of Public Utilities was designated as the broadband focal point for the state of New Jersey. And of course, they appointed us because we're good. And we have the people who know what they're doing. And we're in the process of continuing to hire people for that division. And some of the candidates that we have interviewed are outstanding. Know their stuff. And it almost gets to a point where we're gonna have to flip a coin because there are so many good candidates out there. So, we're very fortunate, and someone asked me, what will success look like? Success will look like every household is connected to broadband. That's what success will look like. With today being the first day of winter, I hate that word. It really should be under, those four-letter words. It's as good a time as any to remind folks that while winter termination program is in effect, the moratorium on shutoffs ends March 15th. If you are behind on your utility bill, boy, this sounds like a reprise of previous statements. Please call your utility provider, as they offer a variety of programs and agreements to help keep your lights on and your bills paid. Please. We are fortunate to live in a state like New Jersey that has many assistance programs. But you have to reach out for them. See if you qualify. After March 15th, we don't want anybody shut off. But you gotta pay your bill. I don't know about you, but the mail person never stops delivering bills to my house. So, if you can't pay it, we can help you. That's what we're here for, to help you. Do any other commissioners have, oh, and by the way, we're also talking about water in the same context as we're talking about energy. If you're behind in your bill, so there are programs to help. Anyone else have any comments they'd like to make before we go on to the agenda? All right, audits, Madam Secretary, I see. You thought I was going to forget this, didn't you? Huh?
Yes.
Consent agenda, please.
On consent agenda items 1A, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 4A, 4B, and 6A.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fernandez.
Yes, thank you. There are no items under audits for consideration. That brings us to energy. Ian, I think you're the first one up.
Yes.
And it obviously is a FERC item.
That is correct, Mr. President. Testing, is this on?
Yeah, you're good.
I can hear you.
Good.
And if I can hear you, everybody else can. Because, as you get older, your hearing kind of
Yes.
decreases a little bit,
Right. Good to know they're working then. Say, on July 5th, 2021, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, opened a rulemaking docket titled Building for the Future through Electrical Regional Transmission Planning and Cost Allocation and Generator Interconnection. On April 21st, 2022, FERC issued a notice of proposed rulemaking in the same docket that proposed an extensive set of reforms to transmission planning and cost allocation. On behalf of the board, staff has previously submitted reply comments in reply comments in this docket in order to support the elements of FERC's proposals that would benefit New Jersey ratepayers and facilitate the state's clean energy goals, while pushing back on elements that would needlessly inhibit competition and thereby increase costs to ratepayers. In order to bolster the record support for transmission reform as favorable to New Jersey, on November 28, 2022, staff filed a motion to lodge the board's October 26, 2022 order selecting state agreement approach transmission proposals to support New Jersey's offshore wind goals. Staff also moved to lodge the associated State Agreement Approach Evaluation Report prepared by the Bridal Group and other board consultants, as well as an State Agreement Approach Economic Analysis Report prepared by PJM. Collectively, these materials provide important evidence that proactive transmission planning to facilitate one state's clean energy goals can reduce total electric system costs and reduce significant quantifiable benefits for ratepayers in other states. The materials also show that competition in transmission development can provide substantial cost savings and other benefits to ratepayers. The materials thus provide compelling empirical evidence that supports the positive reforms that FERC proposed, while undercutting FERC proposals that would stifle competition and harm New Jersey ratepayers. Staff recommends that the board ratify the motion to lodge that staff filed with FERC on November 28, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions and comments for Ian? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Federlisa.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Moran, you're up.
Morning.
2B, good morning to you, is a PSE&G item.
That's correct. On June 1st, 2022, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed a petition requesting approval to decrease its margin adjustment charge rate. During the course of the proceeding, PSE&G updated the information to correct certain errors and updates for actuals through April 2022. Following a review of the petition and update, the parties have executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the maintenance of the current MAC rate. As a result, typical residential heating customers would see no bill impact following execution of the stipulation. Staff recommends the board issue an order in adopting the stipulation and direct PSE&G to file revised tariffs by January 1, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Federlisa.
Yes. Next item is South Jersey Gas.
Yep. On July 29, 2022, South Jersey Gas Company filed a petition requesting authority to decrease its energy efficiency tracker charge, which recovers costs related to its energy efficiency programs. Through discovery, the company updated its proposed EET charge, which resulted in a slightly smaller decrease to the rate. The parties have executed a stipulation requesting approval of an EET charge consistent with the update. As a result, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms per month would see a decrease in their monthly bill of 89 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and direct South Jersey Gas to file revised tariffs by December 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Federlisa.
Yes. E-Town Gas.
Yep. On July 29th, 2022, Elizabethtown Gas Company filed a petition seeking approval to decrease its energy efficiency program rider rate for costs associated to recovery of its energy efficiency programs. The parties have executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the proposed EEP rider rate. As a result, a typical residential heating customer using 100 therms per month would see a decrease in their monthly bill of 4 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and direct Elizabethtown Gas to file revised tariffs by December 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Federlisa.
Yes. And the next item, South Jersey Gas rate case.
On April 14th, 2022, South Jersey Gas filed a petition seeking approval of an increase in its base rates of approximately $73.1 million, excluding sales and use tax. Throughout the course of the proceeding, South Jersey Gas updated its request to include 12 months of actual data, which reflected an updated proposed revenue requirement of approximately $82.3 million, excluding sales and use tax. Following extensive discovery and settlement meetings, the parties executed a stipulation which was subsequently approved by Administrative Law Judge Gertzman. Some key features of the stipulation are a settlement revenue requirement of $25 million, including sales and use tax, a return on equity of 9.6%, and several regulatory assets being amortized over a 3-year period. Additionally, the residential monthly customer charge will remain at $10.50, including sales and use tax. Based on the stipulation, effective January 1st, 2023, the monthly bill of a typical residential customer using 100 therms per month will increase by $6.75. Staff recommends that the board adopt the initial decision and approve the stipulation, which would provide for an increase in base rates for services rendered on or after January 1st, 2023. Staff further recommends that the board direct South Jersey Gas to file tariff sheets by December 30th, 2022 for review by staff.
So moved. Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy DeLu?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Dean, you're up. First item has to do with Atlantic City Electric.
Good morning, Mr. President,
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
On October 31st, Atlantic City Electric Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval for a 4-year infrastructure investment program with a total investment of $379 million pursuant to NJAC 14:3-2A.1. At this time, staff recommends the board retain this matter for hearing at the board and designate a presiding commissioner. Staff further recommends that the board set a bar date of January 13th, 2023 for the filing of motions to intervene and/or participate and for admission pro hac vice.
And Commissioner Solomon has agreed to be that presiding commissioner.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy DeLu?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Rockland Electric.
This matter pertains to a petition filed by Rockland Electric Company on March 30th, 2022, seeking approval to implement an infrastructure investment program and related cost recovery mechanism. The company proposed a total investment of $209 million over a 5-year period in enhanced overhead storm hardening, selective undergrounding, underground rebuild and rehabilitation, as well as the rebuild of the Franklin Lake substation and its related high voltage distribution lines. Following extensive discovery and settlement meetings, the parties have executed a stipulation resolving this matter. As part of the settlement, Rockland will invest $7.8 million in enhanced overhead storm hardening and $40 million in selective undergrounding for a total investment of $47.8 million over a 5-year period. The parties agreed that RICO would recover the IIP investments through an accelerated mechanism which would recover IIP costs, including the return on net plant in service and depreciation expense for plant in service. RICO will file annually for recovery of service investments. While there's no bill impact with the approval of the stipulation following the completion of the 5-year program, a typical residential customer will experience a cumulative bill increase of approximately $5.28 per month. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy DeLu?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. New Jersey Natural Gas, Dean.
These matters concern New Jersey Natural Gas Company's request for a determination of the applicability of Homedale Township's zoning and land use laws relating to the construction of a regulator station in Homedale Township. New Jersey law permits the board to determine that a township's zoning and land use laws should not apply if the board finds that a public utility project is reasonably necessary for the service, convenience, or welfare of the public. The project is necessary to maintain reliable electric or natural gas service supplied for the general public, and no alternative site or sites are reasonably available to achieve an equivalent public benefit. The Hometown Township Zoning Board of Adjustment twice denied New Jersey Natural Gas's application to build the regulator station, first at 970 Homedale Road and subsequently at 960 Homedale Road. After each denial, New Jersey Natural Gas filed a petition with the board requesting a determination of Homedale Township zoning and land use laws. Requesting a determination of the applicability of Homedale Township's zoning and land use laws. The board transferred both petitions to the Office of Administrative Law for a determination as a contested case. The petitions were consolidated by Administrative Law Judge Pelios, and though the locations were similarly viable, the location of 960 Homedale Road included additional measures specifically tailored to address Homedale's concerns, so the initial decision pertains solely to 960 Homedale Road. After the public and evidentiary hearings, ALJ Pelios concluded that the project, as proposed, is necessary to provide safe, adequate, and reliable natural gas services in New Jersey, and is reasonably necessary for the service, convenience, and welfare of the public. The petition considered alternative sites and methods for this project. The site and facilities design are reasonable considering the alternatives, and that the project as proposed to be designed and constructed will minimize adverse impacts on the environment and, based on the record, is not adverse to the public health and welfare. Additionally, in his legal analysis, ALJ Pelios stated that since the project was not an expansion or upgrade to New Jersey Natural Gas's system, and the project is necessary to continue to provide reliable service to its customers, the sub-goals of Goal 5.4 of the Energy Master Plan were not implicated here. While staff agrees with ALJ Pelios that the Energy Master Plan is not implicated in this matter, it should be noted that all natural gas projects brought before the board are reviewed with due consideration to the goals of the Energy Master Plan. Based on these conclusions, ALJ Pelios found that Homedale's land use law should not apply to the construction, installation, and operation of the project, and as such, New Jersey Natural Gas should be permitted to construct the regulator station as proposed. The initial decision was received by the board on May 18th, 2022. Homedale Township filed exceptions to the initial decision on July 5th, 2022, and both Rate Council and New Jersey Natural Gas filed replies to these exceptions on July 29th, 2022. After a thorough review of the record, the initial decision, exceptions, and replies to these exceptions, staff recommends the board approve the initial decision without modification and further recommends that the board grant New Jersey Natural Gas's request to construct the regulator station as proposed at 960 Homedale Road in Homedale Township, New Jersey.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferdelisa?
Yes. Thank you. Bart, you're up.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning. First item is ACE and Solar.
All right, agenda item 2I, Atlantic City Electric. Okay. Push?
Yep.
There we go, green button. All right, first one, Atlantic City Electric. On July 8th, 2022, Atlantic City Electric Company filed a petition seeking authority to adjust the level of the Ryder Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative recovery charge associated with ACE's legacy SREC program, its successor SREC 2 program, its TREC program, and its SUSI program, as well as continue its SREC 2 admin fee of $17.07 for calendar year 2023. Currently, the parties are in the process of reviewing the filing, which will not be complete prior to January 2023, when the SREC 2 admin fee must be reset. Therefore, staff recommends that the board issue an order allowing ACE to continue its SREC 2 admin fee of $17.07 for calendar year 2023 as the parties continue to work through and review this filing.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fidelis.
Yes. And then we have Rockland Electric.
Yep.
Bart.
Sounds good. All right. So on September 1st, 2022, Rockland Electric Company filed a petition seeking authority to maintain its SREC 2 admin fee of $30 per SREC for calendar year 2023 and maintain its regional greenhouse gas initiative surcharge for recovery of the SREC 2 program direct costs at 0 per kilowatt hour. The parties have executed a stipulation which would allow the continuation of the SREC 2 admin fee of $30 per SREC for calendar year 2023 and maintain RICO's RGGI surcharge for the recovery of the SREC 2 program direct costs at 0 per kilowatt hour. As a result of this stipulation, a typical residential customer would experience no change in their monthly bills. Staff recommends that the board approve the stipulation with rates effective for service rendered on January 1st, 2023, and direct RICO to file revised tariffs by December 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Bless you. Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fidelis.
Yes. JCP&L, Bart.
Yep. On February 1st, 2022, Jersey Central Power and Light Company filed a petition seeking an adjustment to its Rider Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative recovery charge rate to reconcile revenues and costs for JCP&L's existing SREC programs, PREC program, and the EENC program component rates of its rider RRC, as well as the establishment of the company's SREC 2 program administrative fee for calendar year 2023 and the determination of prudence of prior period SREC 2 program administrative costs. Additionally, JCP&L sought to establish the successor solar initiative program rate. Through the course of this filing, the company updated their original petition with 8 months of actual data and 4 months of forecasted data, resulting in a lower revenue requirement. The parties have executed a stipulation which would allow for the adjustments to the company's existing SREC program, TREC program, and E and C program component rates, the implementation and inclusion of the SUSI program within the company's rider RRC tariff, and the continuation of the SREC 2 admin fee of $17 for calendar year 2023. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer would experience a monthly increase of 23 cents. Staff recommends that the board approve the stipulation with rates effective for service rendered on January 1st, 2023, and direct JCP&L to file revised tariffs by December 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fidelis.
Yes. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you.
That brings us to cable television. Lawanda. Somebody's looking for a waiver, Lawanda.
Yes, they are. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Before I begin the agenda item, I did want to take this opportunity to extend my wishes as well for a happy and healthy retirement to the folks that you mentioned. It just so happens that Sheila Mack was a former administrative assistant in telecom for many, many years and worked under me before she was stolen from me by an individual who shall be nameless. But I would like to wish her, as well as my Deputy Director Harold Bond and Richard Wagenblast, Supervisor of the Cable TV Technical Unit, for many, many years. I thank all of them for their outstanding work that helped to make the OCTV&T the very best division in the board from my admittedly very biased seat. Those of you who know Rich know that he has gone above and beyond the call while investigating cases and crafting solutions to assist customers in obtaining service. For those of you who are Trekkies, you will understand when I say that Harold has been the best number one that any captain could ask for. And I'd like to personally thank him for always supporting me and having my back. I wish all of them the very best in their new journey after the BPU, and that they live long and prosper for many years to come.
Thank you, Ms. Spock.
Now, to agenda item 3A. This matter addresses a petition filed by Verizon, New Jersey, seeking to waive deployment requirements of its Fios TV service to 8 multi-dwelling units, known as MDUs, in several municipalities. By way of background, changes to the New Jersey Cable TV Act, enacted in 2006, permitted Verizon New Jersey to offer cable TV service throughout its telephone service footprint under a system-wide franchise granted by the board. As part of its franchise commitments, pursuant to NJSA 48:25.2 of the Act, Verizon was required to make its cable TV service available to residential areas throughout the 70 most densely populated communities in the state. With respect to MDUs located within these 70 required towns, the Cable Act permitted Verizon to seek a waiver of the deployment requirements from the board in instances where Verizon was unable to reach an agreement with the MDU property owner to access the buildings to install their equipment to provide service. In total, Verizon submitted 84 separate requests for relief containing varying numbers of MDUs located throughout these 70 required towns. In the present matter, on September 14, 2011, Verizon filed such a request, initially seeking a waiver for 12 MDUs. By letter dated October 3, 2019, Verizon submitted a notice to the board indicating it had reached an agreement for access with owners of 4 of the properties, thereby withdrawing them from the waiver request. As a condition of the board's renewal of Verizon's franchise in December 2020, the company was required to refresh the data on its pending waiver petitions. Verizon submitted information indicating that it continues to be unsuccessful in negotiating access agreements for Fios TV service in the 8 remaining MDUs listed in the September 14, 2011 filing. OCTV&T sent correspondence to the 8 remaining MDU property owners, giving them an opportunity to comment on Verizon's waiver request. Out of the 8, a response was received from one of the owners asking the board to defer relief, as he indicated that he was still attempting to negotiate access with Verizon. The Division of Rate Counsel also filed comments generally supporting the approval of Verizon's request for relief, as well as a request by the one property owner seeking to defer relief due to the ongoing negotiations. As the waiver request has been pending for several years, staff believes Verizon has met its burden under the Cable TV Act. We therefore recommend that the board approve Verizon's request for relief of the requirement to extend its Fios TV service to 7 of the 12 properties listed in its September 14, 2011 filing, and defer for 180 days approval of the 1 additional property that is presently negotiating an access agreement with the company.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Question?
Yes.
Lawanda, one would think that offering these kinds of services would increase the value and rentability of the properties. Why is Verizon having trouble getting into these buildings? Is it a structural issue, or because you would think the landlords would want to make this happen? Can you explain, give examples of the kinds
Sure.
of impediments that have been faced?
A lot of the issues, as you mentioned, Commissioner, some are structural. They may be buildings where, for instance, they have not upgraded the electrical in the building, and if they don't have the capability to input Verizon's equipment, then it's not compatible with the current electric in the building, then that's a very much added cost to the property owner to do that in order to have Verizon's service be added to the building. In other instances, there's not as great an incentive because Verizon is coming in as a competitor to the traditional provider. So in most instances, the traditional cable TV provider already provides service to these buildings. And so Verizon is a competitor, and even though they offer a competitive service to the traditional existing service, it's not as much of a incentive for the provider for the property owner to, in some instances especially where they have to incur additional cost. It doesn't appeal to them to allow Verizon into the building. In some instances, especially where the current residents have not requested that they would like to have Verizon service, it's a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christie DeLu?
Yes.
President Ferdelisa?
Yes.
Thank
Want to thank you.
That comes to sit next to Mike Beck.
There are no items under telecommunications to be considered. That brings us to Mr. Cameron.
Good morning, Mr. President and
Good
Commissioners.
morning. How are you today?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
5A is Gordon's Corner Water Company. Gordon's Corner Water Company on July 27th filed a petition seeking to increase its purchased water adjustment clause, or PWAC, from its current rate of 0 to 0.10, so 10 cents per 1,000 gallons of water. Gordon's Corner proposed the increase become effective on January 1st, 2023. The board retained jurisdiction over this matter, and after proper notice, virtual public hearings were conducted by a board-designated legal specialist on November 1st, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. No members of the public appeared or provided comments at the virtual public hearing, and no written comments have been received by the board. Subsequent to the public hearing, Gordon's Corner, the Division of Rate Counsel, and board staff entered into a stipulation that agrees to an overall increase in revenues totaling approximately $110,000, which represents a 0.8% increase over present rate revenues. As a result of the stipulation, the bill for a typical customer with a 5/8" meter who uses 7,000 gallons of water per month will go from the current $62.90 a month to $63.46 per month, an increase of 56 cents per month or 0.9%. Staff recommends that the board adopt the stipulation for service rendered on and after January 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christie DeLu?
Yes.
President Ferdelisa?
Yes. Next one is Aqua, New Jersey, Michael?
Yes, on May 31st, Aqua New Jersey filed a petition pursuant to NJAC 14:9-10.4 to establish an initial distribution system improvement charge, or DSIC, to become effective January 1st, 2023. Aqua's current base rates became effective on June 1st, 2019, and its DSIC is currently set at 0. Aqua submitted an engineering evaluation report which identified the rationale for DSIC-eligible work to be performed and provided evidence that the proposal is cost-effective. Aqua further submitted a calculation of its base infrastructure spending. The board retained jurisdiction over this matter, and after proper notice, virtual public hearings were held at 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on October 26th and were presided over by a board-appointed legal specialist. No members of the public appeared at either public hearing. The board received written comments from the Township of Robbinsville. Among other things, Robbinsville commented that charging a DSIC to both a municipality and its constituents ultimately charges those constituents multiple times for water service. Substance to the public hearing, the board, the parties to this matter, the Division of Rate Counsel, Aqua, and board staff entered into a stipulation that agreed to establish an initial DSIC for Aqua. There's no immediate rate impact, and staff recommends that the board adopt this stipulation.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy Baloo.
Yes.
President Felice.
Yes. And then Atlantic City wastewater?
Yes. On September 26, 2022, Atlantic City Sewer Company filed a petition for approval of an increase in the level of its purchased sewage treatment adjustment clause pursuant to NJAC 14:9-7.1D and 14:9-7.7. Atlantic City Sewer, like most wastewater companies in New Jersey, does not treat its own wastewater. It collects the wastewater and transmits it to the Atlantic County Municipal Utilities Authority. The matter was retained by the board, and after public notice, virtual comment hearings were presided over by a board-appointed legal specialist and were held on November 16, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. No members of the public appeared at the public hearing, and the board has received no written comments. Subsequent to the public hearings, Atlantic City Sewer Company, the Division of Rate Counsel, and board staff, the parties to this matter, entered into a stipulation that resolved the company's request. For the average residential customer, the P-stack rate will increase from $20.40 per meter cubic feet of water to $25.76 per 1,000 cubic feet of metered water. With respect to the total bill for annual wastewater service, the average residential customer using approximately 9.3 thousand cubic feet of metered water will see an increase in their bill from $563 to $613, an increase of $49.56 annually, which is a 26.11% increase annually. Staff recommends that the board adopt the stipulation.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy Baloo.
Yes.
President Felice.
Yes. Michael, thank you, and I just noticed you cut your beard off.
I did.
Did you get fired from Macy's?
Not yet.
No, okay.
What did the reindeer think of that?
Well, thank you very much, Michael.
Okay, thank you. I'll be back a little later.
Okay. Reliability and security. Marco. This item was discussed in executive session, and now, as I mentioned then, the board will be taking action.
Good morning, Mr. President and distinguished commissioners.
Marco, good morning.
Good morning. I'm here in the matter of the United States Department of Energy State Energy Program, and specifically the New Jersey State Energy Security Plan. I'm here today to request your approval for the solicitation of a request for response, an RFR, for the New Jersey State universities and colleges. If approved by the board, a 7-week solicitation period will follow, awaiting any submissions. The RFR will seek to find the most qualified institutions to draft the New Jersey State Energy Security Plan. The goal of the project is to rewrite and update our 2012 Energy Assurance Plan that was also supplemented with work that is done on the Energy Master Plan, also amended and updated in 2017. The New Jersey State Energy Security Plan draft will describe the state's energy landscape, people, processes, and strategies to build energy resilience. The following draft submission of the plan, we will get a draft submission of the plan as well as 2 tabletop exercises to exercise the plan's accuracy, effectiveness, and outreach. The DOE, Department of Energy, their guidelines will show with this plan to address all energy sources, regulated and unregulated, provide an energy profile for the state, an assessment of energy production, transmission, distribution, and ultimate end use. It is to address potential hazards to each sector, both the physical threats and cybersecurity threats and the vulnerabilities that follow. The plan is also asking to provide a risk assessment of the energy infrastructure and the cross-sector interdependencies, as well as provide a risk mitigation approach to enhance reliability and end-user resilience. And finally, the plan is also to address multi-state and regional coordination, planning and response for mutual aid, and to whatever extent practical, encourage mutual assistance in both cyber and physical response plans. As mentioned, this plan is a rewrite or a new written document that came from 2012, the Energy Assurance Plan. And as we know, plenty of things have occurred within the last 10 years in the landscape of emergency management and the different programs that have already been instituted here in the state of New Jersey. Therefore, if approved, the board, in partnership with the selected bidder, will develop a comprehensive, forward-leaning state energy security plan.
So moved. Second.
And this is a living document. This is something that is revised, updated periodically. And we have seen, unfortunately, and that you hit upon this, in the past 10 plus years, the need for increased security, both in the cyber world and the physical world. As we mentioned at a previous meeting, the shooting in North Carolina and in some other states of substations, and it's vital that just as we prepare for violent storms, we have to prepare and be vigilant insofar as terrorist attacks. And it's comforting that our Division of Reliability and Security is on top of this, works closely with the Office of Emergency Management, who works closely with the FBI, and so on, to protect these vital infrastructure items that we have to maintain our way of life. So it's vital that we continue to be vigilant. And thank you for your efforts and so on. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of response we get from academia and how much they can be of assistance to us. Any other comments?
Just
Yes.
one, and I'm glad that you have within the plan the process of doing the tabletop exercises, because plans are only good as a plan is if you don't do those exercises and do those tabletops, which are vital to testing your ability to deal with these threats. It's really not worth the paper that it's written on. So I'm glad that's being worked into, what you're putting together, and for what the DOE is putting together nationwide to at least give us a baseline, so to speak, of looking at these matters and addressing them, not just here in New Jersey, but on a national level.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferlisa?
Yes. Marco, thank you.
Thank you, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. There are no items under customer assistance for consideration at this meeting. We go to clean energy, and Diane, 8A. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I am recusing myself from 8A and ask Commissioner Gordon to carry the ball on this one.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. I believe this is an item involving solar landscape and T-REC eligibility for a project of theirs in Cumberland County. Diane, could you tell us about this?
Yes, thank you. This item relates to a subsection T application from Solar Landscape to have its Owens, Illinois Incorporated project certified as being located on a brownfield pursuant to subsection T of the Solar Act of 2021. The applicant's proposed 8.82 megawatt project is to be located on 22 acres at the former Owens Brockway Glass Container Facility in Bridgeton, Cumberland County, New Jersey. The staff has reviewed the application and supplied a copy to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for their review. We subsequently received an advisory memo on the application where the NJDEP determined that the proposed site is a brownfield as defined by the Solar Act. The DEP also provided specific conditions and requirements for permits and approvals from the DEP that the project must satisfy. Based upon the review of the application and the advisory memo provided by DEP, staff recommends the following 3 items. That the board grant conditional certification of the solar landscape project as proposed for the former Owens Brockway Glass Container Facility on property defined as a brownfield consistent with the Solar Act of 2012. I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier, I meant 2012. And find the conditions for certification provided by the DEP be fully documented as satisfied by the applicant prior to staff's issuance of full certification. And to direct the applicant to file its T-REC registration within 14 days of the date of the order.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrissy DeLuna.
Yes.
Mr. President, take it from there.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Diane. Dustin, you're up.
Morning, Mr. President and
Good morning.
Commissioners. The state of New Jersey submitted 2 applications under the Large Energy Users Program requesting board approval of financial incentives of $1,918,758.21 for HVAC decentralization and $714,076.11 for a lighting upgrade at the Edna Mann Correctional Facility. The proposed HVAC decentralization project has a total cost of $20,733,044. The proposed lighting upgrade project has a total cost of $2,040,666. Both projects are part of a larger energy savings improvement program scope of work for the state that includes the Edna Mann Correctional Facility and the Hunterton Development Center. The first application would cover the replacement of the existing Noresco-owned central steam and high-temperature hot water plant at the facility, with new heat and domestic water service and associated equipment installed in each of the 32 affected buildings on the campus. The project is anticipated to annually consume an additional 43,638 kilowatt hours of electricity, but save 515,509 therms of natural gas, thereby yielding an estimated net annual energy cost savings of $264,652. It will also save the facility an additional $1,789,089 per year by ending the need to pay Noresco monthly fees for operating the central steam plant. The project will also provide critical health and safety benefits, as the previous heating system was well beyond its useful life, had massive inefficiencies, suffered from multiple underground leaks, and struggled to deliver sufficient heat to the facility's buildings. The second application would cover the retrofit of existing interior and exterior lighting with new LED models. The project is anticipated to annually save 2,163,867 kilowatt hours of electricity, reduce peak demand by 468.21 kilowatts, and save $194,748.03 in energy costs.
Staff recommends approval of the applications for the total estimated incentive amounts.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Yes.
I think it's worth noting that the governor has called for the closure of the Edna Mahon facility, but I think we should note for the record that despite that, we don't have any clear timetable about when that's going to occur. And these improvements are of an emergent nature, and that is why we're moving forward with these. Am I correct, Austin?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Why don't we do a roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou.
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Dustin, thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us down to miscellaneous, and it's you again, Michael.
Yes, I'm back.
And you're talking about COVID and pandemic and
Yeah.
what's going on?
On July 2nd, 2020, the board issued an order authorizing the state's utilities to create a COVID-19 regulatory asset by deferring incremental, prudently incurred COVID-19 related costs beginning on March 9th, 2020 through the latter of September 30th, 2021, 60 days after Governor Murphy issued an order declaring proclamation or similar announcement that the public health emergency is no longer in effect. The board's July 2020 order required, among other things, that all affected utilities file petition with the board by the latter of December 31st, 2021, or within 60 days of the close of the regulatory asset period. By order dated September 14th, 2021, the board extended the regulatory asset period from September 30th, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. On August 2nd, 2022, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed a motion with the board requesting a further extension of the regulatory asset period through the end of 2023. PSE&G noted, among other things, that at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, it was unclear how long the moratorium on customer shutoffs would last, and it was unlikely that any party expected them to last for 2 years and remain in place indefinitely for customers seeking payment assistance. In response to PSE&G's motion, the board received comments from SJI Utilities, New Jersey Natural Gas Company, Jersey Central Power and Light Company, New Jersey American Water Company, Atlantic City Electric Company, and the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel. Public Service and JCP&L filed reply comments to Rate Counsel's comments. Following a review of the motion, the comments, and the reply comments, board staff recommends that the board deny PSE&G's motion. However, board staff recommends that the board extend the regulatory asset period from December 31st, 2022 through March 15th, 2023, and that the filing deadline for COVID-19 related cost recovery filings be extended to 60 days from the close of the extended regulatory asset period. Staff further recommends that the board allow the affected utilities to seek recovery of the regulatory asset balance prior to the expiration of the extension of the regulatory asset period if they cease deferring the cost related to the regulatory asset.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
So what does that take us to now? May?
May.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou.
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you again, Michael.
Thank you.
That concludes our agenda. Do any of my colleagues have any closing comments they'd like to make? Yes, sir?
if I could, Mr. President, and fellow commissioners and staff, and friends, just to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, and to let you know that this has been an incredibly productive year. And since I've only been here for 4 months, it says a lot, I think, in the next year.
Certainly
So
we're a catalyst.
I really want to thank everybody and wish you all the very best, a happy and healthy 2023.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.